Enter, rejoice, and come in. Enter, rejoice, and come in. Today will be a joyful day. Enter, rejoice, and come in. Open your ears to the song. Open your ears to the song. Today will be a joyful day. Enter, rejoice, and come in. Open your hearts, everyone. Open your hearts, everyone. Today will be a joyful day. Enter, rejoice, and come in. Don't be afraid of some change. Don't be afraid of some change. Today will be a joyful day. Enter, rejoice, and come in. Enter, rejoice, and come in. Enter, rejoice, and come in. Today will be a joyful day. Enter, rejoice, and come in.
And now we pause and reflect on matters of the heart. Ollie, would you like to help me with the stones also? Thank you. Sorry about this long walk every time for this. For this morning's ritual, we have water and we have river stones. The stones are smooth and the stones have weight. They're indicative of both life's pleasures and times of ease, as well as life's burdens and times of heaviness. The water receives these stones with ease and calmness. Each week, you're invited to write a joy, sorrow, or concern in this book, or you can email it to pastoralcare@emersonuu.org to be read. If you're online, we invite you to recreate this at home. You can place a stone in a bowl of water to honor what is in your heart. We begin by placing 3 stones. One in honor of the Cherokee and Muskogee nations of indigenous people on whose land we currently reside. A second for those wrongly enslaved here who labored on this land. And a third for all those hurting in current conflicts and wars that rage across our globe. Within our community, we share that Amber Almond wants everyone to know that her surgery went well and she is recovering at home. Yeah, it's very good. That's awesome. Glad to hear that, Amber. She sends her thanks for all the well wishes and generous gift cards. From Reverend Christina, thank you, Emerson, for the support of love, food, phone calls, and wishes for a speedy recovery after my knee replacement 2 weeks ago. I am healing well and following all the advice of the physical therapist. I am up and walking and the pain is getting better. I am back at work this week. I look forward to seeing everyone again next Sunday at the water ceremony. And from the book today, we have one, a joy from Patty Haynes. Sometime in 1982, I met this guy with gorgeous deep brown eyes. He was a little on the young side, but that was okay. On August 18th, 1984, he convinced me to marry him with a big sapphire inside a rose. And here we still are, Davy and me. Congratulations, Patty and Dave. And Ollie, would you please put one more stone in the water? And this one is for anything that's on your hearts that's too tender or too personal to share at the moment. And just to have that stone in there for those kinds of feelings. And in thankful awareness, let's say the Buddhist prayer of loving kindness. Please read the words with me, they'll be on the screen. May we all be filled with loving kindness. May we all be free from harm and suffering. May we all be well in body, heart, and mind. May we all be at peace. Blessed be. We gather as a community to encourage one another to live with open hearts and generous spirits. Many faith traditions teach that we come closer to the divine through acts of compassion, justice, creativity, and love. Supporting this community is one way we can live out those values together. For the month of August, Emerson's social justice team has chosen to partner with Access Reproductive Care Southeast, ARC-SE, for this month's Share the Basket. ARC Southeast provides funding and logistical support to ensure Southerners receive safe and compassionate reproductive care, including abortion services. Through education and leadership development, they build power in communities of color to abolish stigma and restore dignity and justice. Their vision includes a world where all Southerners have full access to care and support around their reproductive health decisions without biases or barriers. If you're with us today in the sanctuary, you may place your gift in the offering basket or use one of the options listed in your order of service. If you're joining us online, please visit emersonuu.org and select the Giving tab to donate. And for anyone with a sweet tooth, there are lollipops in the basket, so help yourself. They're for everybody. The offering will be given now and received with much gratitude.
Everybody hear me? Am I on the mic?
Yeah, the mic's on.
Testing. Okay, we're good. All right. How's everybody doing today? All right. So today's book is called It Could Always Be Worse. And it is if you can believe it, it's an old Jewish folk tale. Does anybody know what a rabbi is before we start? So a rabbi is basically kind of like a minister for the Jewish community, but he's also a person that anybody can come to for advice or guidance, or kind of like Reverend Christina at any time. So that's going to come up a lot in this book, so I wanted to go over that real quick before we start. Okay? It Could Always Be Worse by Margaret Zamach. Wait a minute, see if we get the picture up. All right. You good?
Yeah.
Okay. Once upon a time in a small village, a poor, unfortunate man lived with his mother, his wife, and his 6 children in a little one-room hut. Because they were so crowded, the man and his wife often argued. The children were noisy, and they fought. In winter, when the nights were long and the days were cold, life was especially hard. The hut was full of crying and quarreling. One day, when the poor, unfortunate man couldn't stand it anymore, he ran to the rabbi for advice. "Holy Rabbi," he cried, "things are in a bad way with me." I'm reading. "And getting worse." We are so poor that my mother, my wife, and my 6 children... Go get it. My wife, my 6 children, and I all live in one small hut. We are too crowded, and there's so much noise. Help me, Rabbi, I'll do whatever you say. The rabbi thought and pulled on his beard. At last he said, Tell me, my poor man, do you have any animals, perhaps a chicken or 2? Yes, said the man, I do have a few chickens, also a rooster and a goose. Ah, fine, said the rabbi. Now go home and take the chickens, the rooster, and the goose into your hut to live with you. Yes, indeed, Rabbi, said the man, though he was a bit surprised. The poor unfortunate man hurried home and took the chickens, the rooster, and the goose out of the shed and into his little hut. When some days or a week had gone by, life in the hut was worse than before. Now with the quarreling and crying, there was honking, crowing, and clucking. There were feathers in the soup. The hut stayed just as small, and the children grew bigger. When the poor unfortunate man couldn't stand it any longer, he ran again to the rabbi for help. Hey, Rabbi, he cried. Holy Rabbi, he cried. See what a misfortune has befallen me. Now with the crying and quarreling, with the honking, clucking, and crowing, there are feathers in the soup. Rabbi, it couldn't be worse. Help me, please. The rabbi listened and thought. Has a feedback. The rabbi listened and thought. At last he said, Tell me, do you happen to have a goat? Oh, yes, I do have an old goat, but he ain't worth much. Excellent, said the rabbi. Now go home and take the old goat in your hut to live with you. Oh, no. Do you really mean that, Rabbi? Cried the man. Come now, my good man, and do as I say at once, said the rabbi. The poor unfortunate man tramped back home with his head hanging down and took the old goat into his hut. When some days or a week had gone by, life in the little hut was much worse. Now with the crying, quarreling, clucking, honking, and crowing, the goat went wild, pushing and butting everyone with his horns. The hut seemed smaller and the children grew bigger. When the poor unfortunate man couldn't stand it another minute, he again ran to the rabbi. Holy Rabbi, help me, he screamed. Now the goat is running wild and my life is a nightmare. The rabbi listened and thought. At last he said, Tell me, my poor man, is it possible that you have a cow? Young or old, doesn't matter. Yes, Rabbi, it's true I have a cow, said the poor man fearfully. Go home then, said the rabbi, and take that cow into your hut. Oh, surely not, Rabbi, cried the man. Do it at once, said the rabbi. The poor unfortunate man trudged home with a heavy heart and took the cow into his hut. Is this rabbi crazy, he thought? When some days or a week had gone by, life in the hut was very much worse than before. Everyone quarreled, even the chickens. The goat ran wild. The cow trampled everything. The poor man could hardly believe his misfortune. At last, when he could stand it no longer, he ran to the rabbi for help. Sit down. Holy Rabbi, he shrieked. Help me, save me. The end of the world has come. The cow is trampling everything. There is no room even to breathe. It's worse than a nightmare. The rabbi listened and thought. At last he said, Go home now, my poor unfortunate man, and let the animals out of your hut. I will. I'll do it right away, said the man. The poor unfortunate man hurried home and let the cow, the goat, the chickens, the goose, and the rooster out of his little hut. That night the poor man and all his family slept very peacefully. There was no crowing, no clucking, no honking. There was plenty of room to breathe. The very next day, the poor man ran back to the rabbi. Holy Rabbi, he cried, you have made life sweet for me. With just my family in the hut, it's so quiet, so roomy, and so peaceful. What a pleasure. The end.
Okay, shall we sing our song of dedication? And remember, anyone that is 7 and younger can go meet me back there and go to the playroom. All right?
Is it a good morning yet? You hear me? All right. My name is Bruce King. I'm going to sing a song for you that is in our hymnal. It's a beautiful song. It's called The Sun That Shines. And when I came across it, it reminds me of anytime Jeffrey and I are facing adversity or argue or just don't have a good day. We used to walk to Kennesaw Mountain, go up halfway, and there was a bench there where it coincided with being tired. We would stop and we would look out over nature, and it seemed like whatever was bad wasn't quite as bad. This song feels like exactly that. So it's called The Sun That Shines. The sun that shines across the sea, the wind that whispers in the tree, the lark that carols in the sky, the fleecy clouds a sailing by. Oh, I'm as rich as I can be, for all these things belong to me. The raindrops which refresh the earth, the springtime mantle of rebirth, the summer's day when all things grow, the autumn mist and winter snow. Oh, I'm as rich can be, for all these things belong to me. The task well done, the fun of play, the wise one who guides me on my way, the balm of sleep when each day ends, the joy of family and friends. Oh, I'm as rich can be, for all these things belong, for all these things belong. Thank you.
Bruce and Jeffrey, thank you. That was beautiful. I was sitting at home the other evening after a long day at the hospital. I was flicking through the on-screen guide, and I find myself saying out loud to the dog, "There is nothing on. I've got hundreds of channels, and there's not one thing to watch." And suddenly then my mind did that thing that you see in TV shows where everything kind of got foggy and the clouds swirled and circles appeared, and it was like my memory went back in time. And I heard someone from my past say, "When I was young, we only had 3 channels, and I was grateful. Why, when I was your age, I was the remote control. I had to get up and walk to the TV and actually turn the knob to a different show." Does that click with anybody else? Well, as it turned out, that someone talking in my head was actually me lecturing my own boys some 20 years ago or so. The funny thing was, it seemed that every time I sat down to start this sermon, all I could hear in my head were those old tapes playing messages I heard when I was a kid and complained about not getting the latest sneakers or the newest, coolest things that everyone else had, because there would be no way of surviving the school year without them. And then, of course, the natural responses from my elders was, when I was young, I got one pair of pants and one pair of shoes, and they had to last me the whole school year, and we were grateful to have them. Or those times when I was young and left food on my plate. There are starving children and in my time it was Vietnam. You need to be grateful for the food you have and clean your plate. I have to say I was always confused by that one. Even if I ate all the food on my plate and was grateful for it, wouldn't the children in Vietnam still be starving? I made the mistake once of voicing that idea to my mom when I was in my early teens. I believe I may have even mentioned something about mailing it to them. It did not go well. I would venture a guess that no matter how or where you were raised, many folks here have similar platitudes that they could share from their childhood. But as I look and think back, for me, it kind of felt like I was not being taught what gratitude actually was, but rather that I wasn't ever grateful enough. So what actually is gratitude? Well, according to all that is knowing, Google, gratitude is, and I quote, the appreciation of positive outcomes and the role others play in them. I think I want to say that one again. The appreciation of positive outcomes and the role others play in them. The part of that definition that really struck home with me is the roles that others play. It made me understand that gratitude is something we can't do alone. We need others to make it happen. So I thought, let's go deeper in this. And I thought, let's see what some of the world's great philosophers and deep thinkers say about gratitude. And one of the first things that came up as I was looking was from that wise sage of late night TV and infomercials, Tony Robbins, who said, when you are grateful, fear disappears and abundance appears. That sounds like a great way to sell books and DVDs, but it also sounds to me like a large bucket of horse droppings. As a matter of fact, that seems to me to be just the opposite of what I always felt gratitude was. When it was clear I wasn't going to get the answer I needed from Google or a book, I decided to take a look at one of the things that gives me joy and I'm most grateful for in my life, and that is music. Maybe I could find a song that could really help me in understanding gratitude. I listened and read the lyrics to a lot of songs. And the more I listened and looked, the more I realized that all the songs that were supposedly about gratitude were really just about being thankful. And gratitude feels to me to be so much more than that. If I were to ask any one of you, and maybe we can do this after service, to tell me in 5 words or less what gratitude actually is, could you do it? I mean, the definition I gave you at the beginning was more words than that. And I bet the answers I would get from each of you would be a little different, each and every one. It feels to me like trying to explain gratitude is like trying to tell someone what it means to be a you. You know it in your heart, but putting it into words is a bit harder. Gratitude seems to be so much more than the words and it's way more complicated. So what do I actually have to feel grateful for? Well, in addition to a remote control and 150 or more TV stations, what things are out there? What about clean water and public education? Those are things we should be grateful for. What about health care? Or maybe freedom of speech? We certainly need to feel grateful for them, but those are things that I also think we are truly in danger of losing. And are we actually spending time to show gratitude for them? Or will these things become the platitudes we say to those who come after us? Think about it. Why, when I was young, I had the right to vote. We could go to the doctor and we could worship in our own way, in our own churches. I personally think, and I don't know exactly when it happened, but it wasn't too long ago, that maybe I stopped being grateful for those things and started taking them for granted. Maybe, just maybe, gratitude, like so many other things, needs to be something we do, an action, not just a word. Because if I don't actually show gratitude, if I'm not actively gracious, I may end up not having anything left to be grateful for. It makes me wonder, do you think maybe we have to fear losing something in order to be grateful for it? I know it's hard to be grateful right now. Ice seems to be everywhere. And for the first time in my lifetime, I'm afraid that my vote literally will not be counted in this upcoming midterm election. Is it even possible for us to be grateful in these times? I wish I had more answers, and I promise I didn't come here to be a harbinger of bad news and proclaim that all is lost, because it isn't. I am a person who is truly grateful for things in my life. And you may not have guessed it from my message so far, but I have been accurately accused of seeing the world through rose-colored glasses. And one of the things I am currently most grateful for is my vocation as a chaplain at Emory Decatur Hospital. I tell people I get so much more out of my ministry there than I could ever give. And as a bonus, I get to witness firsthand people practicing gratitude, actively being grateful, even in the worst of situations. It seems that every day I meet someone at the hospital who is truly struggling physically and emotionally, and yet, almost without exception, they express their gratitude for their family and friends, their doctors and nurses, and even the hospital food. They tell me how much they appreciated loving and being loved by others. And even though they were looking at months of recovery, if they're going to have a recovery at all, they even express gratitude to me for my visits. They are truly, truly grateful. And maybe that is actually the key to the whole thing. Doing gratitude, even when it seems there is no hope. So now the next big question is, how? And I bet I know what you're thinking. Has this chaplain and candidate for ministry uncovered the secret to creating gratitude? Does he have the key, the answer to feeling grateful? Well, dear friends, I am here to tell you that right now, here today, I do not. Now, one thing that I have discovered, and I am far from an expert on the subject, is that we can't have gratitude without compassion. Compassion for our friends, compassion for those who don't believe as we do, compassion for ourselves, and compassion for this amazing planet, and compassion with and for each other. But how do we find compassion in a world where every day we hear about a school shooting, or an ice raid, or climate change. There's so much. So much that on sometimes it can be even hard to get out of bed in the morning. I know I don't want to turn on the news most of the time for fear of what I will hear next. Every day, whether it's about the cost of food and gasoline or the reduction of things that keep children and adults fed and safe, all I seem to hear from the leaders of our country is not compassionate feelings for those who are suffering. No, what I hear is them blaming someone else for the problem. And even if they are right about who caused it, that's not helping. Honestly, can anyone, and I mean anyone in Washington or under our own gold dome downtown, show actual compassion for the people they are supposed to serve? If only the leaders that we have showed actual compassion for all the people and gratitude for them being in their lives, then maybe every problem in this world would be solved, right? But what about me? Do I dare point a finger at them without first looking at myself in the mirror? I could sit on my laurels and say, of course I show compassion. I'm a chaplain. I do it every day. But do I? Am I compassionate with everyone I see? What about that person who's driving aggressively on the highway on my way home? Or even worse, that person who's going 4 miles under the speed limit. Do I have compassion for them and what might be happening in their lives? Instead of being angry at them, can I be grateful that maybe they made me slow my life down, if only for a little bit? And what about that person I visit in the hospital that is openly racist? And believe me, I see them every day. Am I really capable of showing them compassion? Can I really have gratitude for the moment I have with them in my life? I could say, of course I can. After all, it's my job. But is that actually compassion? And would I really be grateful for having them cross my path? Lots of big questions whose answers that, as it turns out, are completely and totally up to me and each one of us to find and create. Compassion and gratitude. Gratitude and compassion. You can't have one without the other. My hope is that through my compassion, I can be grateful for the things and people in my life, all of them. And through my gratitude, may I create that warm-hearted feeling that we all have compassion. It's time for us to find our compassion. It's time for us to be grateful for the things that we have. And it's time that we all have that warm-hearted feeling for each other that we so long. Amen, Ashe, and may it be so.
Thank you very much, Randy, for that message. And now for our closing hymn, please rise in body or in voice as we join together in song. Our closing hymn, We Give Thanks. The words will be on the screen.
You will notice on the screen we have 2 verses. We're going to sing both verses. But in the first verse, there's an option. You can say time or food. I would say whatever you're the most thankful for, say that word. And let's just hear it to food or for time.
We give thanks for this precious day, for all gathered here, and those precious day. Oh, we give thanks for the old and young, for a time of wonder, joy and fun, for holy lives as we grow and live. Oh, we give thanks for the old and young.
His Holiness the Dalai Lama says in one of his morning prayers, "Today I am fortunate to be alive. I have a precious human life. I am not going to waste it. I'm going to use all my energies to develop myself, to expand my heart out to others, to achieve enlightenment for the benefit of all beings. I'm going to have kind thoughts towards others. I'm not going to get angry or think badly of others. I am going to benefit others as much as I can." Our time together today has ended, but our service to one another and the world has just begun. Go in peace, go in compassion, and go in gratitude.
And for our chalice extinguishing, Ollie, would you like me to help me pull out the chalice today? As our chalice is extinguished this morning, we extinguish this chalice, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts and out into the world until we are together again. Thank you, Ollie. And thank you, Randy, for your message today. We're very grateful for your message today and also for you coming in under such short notice. We just have a couple of people who would like to share announcements. Then I have one very important announcement before we go, but this won't take long. First, let's have Douglas Futch has an announcement for us.
Morning, y'all. Hopefully everybody received the email this week inviting us to participate in the Searching for the Future workshops coming up on Saturday, September 5th. The workshop is the first major step in our Foundations of Hope Capital campaign, and it's an opportunity for us to think together about what we love most about Emerson, what kind of congregation we want to become, and where we believe our future is leading us. Now, before anybody says it, yeah, we know it's Labor Day. And yes, we know Dragon Con is that weekend, but there's really just no good weekend. So we're going to go. So, there's just no good time. So we picked the weekend and we're just going to make it work, okay? Because this conversation really matters. 15 years ago, Emerson went through a similar process, but that was long before me, and the work that helped guide that capital campaign eventually brought him to buy this building. Now we have the opportunity to come together again and ask a simple question, ask some questions. Where do we go from here? What do we value most about this community? What do we want to preserve and what do we want to strengthen? And what possibilities do we see for our future? As I move through this thing called life prints, the one thing I've learned is that the future is always a lot bigger and more complicated than any one person's vision of it, which is why we need more than a few of us to help make decisions. We need all of our collective wisdom throughout the congregation. We need many voices and perspectives and experiences and dreams as possible. So there are a morning session and an afternoon session, and you only need to show up once, so you can go on with your weekend. Refreshments will be available, and childcare will be provided because we want everyone to be able to come. Most importantly, please register by August 23rd. That helps us to plan ahead. The future is going to be bright, but we really, really, really need your help. If you have any additional questions, please talk to Dave Schimmel or Greg Hebert. They are the workshop organizers, or to the Capital Campaign Committee, Lindsay Tomick and Jamie Culpepper. Thanks.
And I believe Rachel had something she'd like to announce.
Good morning. This is just a quick reminder, well, not reminder, because we forgot to tell Emily to put it on the order of service, but the tabletop role-playing / Dungeons and Dragons group is going to be during second hour today in room 204. There's no experience needed. Anyone who's interested or curious or anything like that, please come on by.
Okay, now just one more announcement. This one's really important. Next week, there is a lot going on, so you will want to be here if you can in the sanctuary or online. Please join us for In-Gathering. Reverend Christina, as she said in her message, will be returning next week to the pulpit with her message entitled, When the World is on Fire, Become Rain. Sounds like a great idea. Also back next week will be Kathy Middleman and the Emerson Choir. Yes, we've been gone a week, so yay. And the other thing that's happening, that's so much happening next week, is that water you saved over the summer for the water ceremony happening next week here. So be sure to bring your water next week, and we hope to see you then. And as our service ends, go in peace and take peace wherever you go.